Excuse me, my good man. By chance, do you know what time it is?
Oh, it's time for another Figuarts review is what time it is! Long have I expressed my love for Gosei Sentai Dairanger, and Bandai has answered that love with the release of Ryu Ranger, Dairanger's Red Leader. Ryu Ranger is one of the few instances where I enjoyed a team's Red Ranger, as that character type is often the most bland-written member of any given Super Sentai team. Does this cool character translate to a cool action figure? Let's find out! He comes packaged in your typical Figuarts box, with the Sentai's title logo on the bottom, open window showcasing the figure, his name running down the side of the window, and the many different photos of the figure in action on all sides of the box. On the back, there's the usual mission statement on the top, but beneath that, where the many display options for the figure is showcased, you can make out a Chinese dragon climbing the packaging. Ryu Ranger's theme is a dragon, in addition to the team's overall Chinese mystic beast theme, so it only makes sense. One thing that sets this package apart from others is that it's extra thick, but more on why later. Ryu Ranger, you sure are cool. There really isn't much to his outfit. Primarily all red with a few choice areas of white, predominantly his torso, and some gold accents, but it all works really well. I cannot find a single paint blemish on this guy. Everything was applied with pinpoint accuracy. Check out the Dairanger crest on his holster there. Nice! And look at the same crest on his chest! Like all Figuarts, every seam from the suit has been translated. Running down the back, traveling down to the legs and boots, and even the ridges on the gloves are represented. With each release for different teams, Bandai tries to bring something new. And in the case of Mr. Red Dragon Man, are the folds to the outfits found on his back, bicep region, and wrists, in addition to the details they usually have in the boots. I was wondering if the bicep folds would be included because the upper arm of the costume is more of a short sleeve, capped off by the gold ring, which makes him look like an old-timey car dealer! Now, while the helmet looks great and 100% accurate, I feel that when compared to others, the detailing is a little on the soft side. Maybe it's in part due to the red eyes painted on top of the gold, which is in part painted atop of the base red of the helmet. I think that is one of the culprits. Just like any other Figuarts, he's super articulated, so let's run that down. We have the head and neck, shoulders, double elbows, ball wrists, torso, waist, patented hips, double knees, Bafo ankle rockers, and toes. You don't get too much movement from that torso other than backwards, as you can see, but I think just that tiny bit is all you need to pull off some great poses. Allow me to bring up that added shoulder piece. It's primarily there to cover up the mechanics of the shoulder joint, but much like my previous Red Tyranno Ranger review, they are very loose. Not only that, but the red this piece is cast in is a hair different from the paint found everywhere else. It's hard to see on camera, but the plastic is not painted, simply cast in red plastic. However, I think this is so no paint rubs off on the torso, because after repeated use of my Tyranno Ranger, the paint they used on this specialty piece has rubbed off on the white, and I think they were aiming to avoid this. Ryu Ranger wouldn't be a Figuarts without all the added accessories typically given to this line, and he comes with a splendiferous number of goodies. Most figures in this line come with an additional 4 sets of hands, but he comes with 6. 6! Half of which are designed to hold his varying array of weapons. Then we have his basketball palming pair, a karate chop pair, and lastly an open palm splayed finger couple. Swapping them out requires you to pop the hands off the ball peg on the wrist and replacing it with the hands of your choosing, resulting in a multitude of options. Which brings us to his myriad of weapons. First off is his Star Sword, which comes in extended and collapsed mode. It's an interesting design weapon that looks more like a piece of futuristic medical equipment than a sword, especially the version without the blade. It's true to the prop and proportionately scaled. I love the small details on it, such as the cut lines in the handle and the base part of the blade. You may be wondering, what's the point of including the collapse mode? Well, that's for him to cradle in his holster. This one goes with the holster emblazoned with that Dairanger logo and fits snugly in there with some pressure. A little too snug, in fact. I'm worried after prolonged in and out use, the paint on the sword may wear off, so I'll just let it lightly rest there. Weapon number 2, an extended and collapsed Star Cutter. It's a smaller, simpler weapon, but still receiving of the typical attention to detail all of his weapons have. The collapsed form of the cutter goes with his other holster, and this one clips on, instead of having to be jammed in, making things much easier and less in the way. Then we come to the Die Buster, which upon closer inspection is the combined form of the Star Sword and Cutter. Many Sentai weapons have this gimmick, and I praise them for including it, because this is Ryu Ranger's only gun. Remember when I said the box he came in was thicker than normal? That's because behind the tray the figure came in with his weapons and hands is another tray with 3 more additional accessories, which act as each Ranger's specific weapon. Well, each member is given the same base weapon, and it's what's on top of them that corresponds to each Dairanger. Here we have his 2 Dairinkens, which are the team's circular bladed weapons. I love how unique they look when compared to other Super Sentai weapons, with that definite Chinese feel to them the series was themed after. And check out those tassels! Love me some tassels! Both are the same with exception to the blade added to the one, which is the only thing that makes it Ryu Ranger specific. What we have next is probably my favorite accessory he comes included with, the Dairen Rod. It's nothing more than a long bladed staff, the blade again making it his personal rod. Look at the detail on those gold accents! Oh! Oh! It gives me the chills! The blade design is the same used on the Dairinkens, but it is beautiful! The two-tone silvers go to show how much depth it has by using 2 different shades. That's it for weapons, but we still have 2 accessories left, and may very well be what takes this Figuarts from being an excellent figure to a knockout. As evident by the Dai Bomber seen in my Akiba Ranger review, Dairanger has a presence in that show, with an episode featuring Ryu Ranger here and the White Kiba Ranger. In said appearance, for half the episode he retroactively appears as China Red, because Chinaman was the alleged original name the Dairangers would have been called. Yeah, because that's not racially insensitive. Anywho, in a move I thought would never happen, the figure is issued the pieces to turn him into China Red. The parts in question are a secondary head and a new chest insignia. The only difference in the helmet are the eyes, which instead of Ryu Ranger's flat red, are white and blue. From the look of it, these are not painted details, but a tampo sticker permanently fixed to the helmet. The new crest features the characters for Chukyu, I believe, as the full title would have been Chukyu Sentai Chinaman, in lieu of the gold with the vertical black line and no stars on the colors. So what say we transform him? By popping the head off from the neck and swapping heads. And changing the crest.
Admiral, strip him of his rank!
The tiny disc have a small tab which plugs into the slot on his chest. Now we have a fully functional Chinaman figure. That's right, two figures for the price of one! When I got wind that we were getting Dairanger representation in the Figuarts line, my wallet was hopping in anticipation. All in all, he's pretty sweet. Now, just give me the rest of the team and I will be a happy, happy boy.